Hey everyone, I am live and it's been a minute since I've gone live, so I'm just going to take a minute here to make sure that I have everything working correctly. Um, I'll show you the graphic here. We're going to do the Canva Scraplift challenge for February. This is the very first challenge I'm going to do. And we're going to feature a page layout by Kim. Her name is kimdocumentslife. And this is a page design that I'm going to recreate in Canva. So I'm just going to leave that up there for a minute. And I want to make sure that all my settings are on here. If you can hear me and see my screen, just pop a comment in there because I can't see anything yet. So I just want to make sure that the comments are working. And if you guys have any questions as we move along, you can type them in the comments box and hopefully I will see them. It does look like there are a few of you on here, so I want to make sure that I say hi. So give me a little shout out in the comment box. And as soon as we do that, I think we're just about ready to go. I have some. No, I do not want to navigate away from the screen. So if you can see my screen and Kim's layout, say I can see you. That would be great. Okay, great, Bethany. That's awesome. I feel like I'm flying a little bit blind right at the moment. Like I said, it's been a while since I did a live. So we're going to try this out live and see how it goes. So I'm going to recreate this layout. Kim used the Pieces kit from Ellie Edwards, and I do have the Pieces kit loaded into Canva. This is my folder with the Pieces kit in it and all of the digital elements for that kit as I'm scrolling down here. So I'm going to keep that open and I'm going to start the design. So it looks like, hold on a second, it's telling me I need to close something here. Okay, I'm just going to dismiss that. Okay, so we're going to start a new design. It looks like Kim's page is about 6 by 8. It might actually be larger. I didn't ask her what size she created it in, but for this purpose in this video, I'm going to create my page in 6 by 8 because I put them in the 6 by 8 album. So that's going to work well for me. Excuse me when I get talking, guys. It gets a little dry, so I have lots of water and my LaCroix water sitting here with the ice cubes in it. I'm going to take sips from now and then, and I got a big ice cube stuck in my throat. Sorry about that. Okay, let's create a new design in Canva. So I'm going to go to the purple button up here that says create a new design. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to pick custom size down here with the plus sign. And I am working on a desktop today. I do use a Mac. I do use a Mac and I have 2 big monitors in front of me. So I love that for when I'm designing because I can see everything super big. But Canva does work on a tablet, even your phone if you want to. So you can use whatever you're comfortable with. I do like to work in inches, but you can work in pixels if you can convert it to the 6 by 8 size. Not a problem. I'm going to make it 6 by 8 and I'm going to create a new design. Okay, so you'll see in front of me I have basically a blank page. I'm going to close this little window here. So basically I have a blank page. I'll try to scroll it up just big enough so you can see it on my screen here. And the first thing we want to do is make a grid for where our photos are going to go. And in Kim's design, she looks like she has a 4x6 photo here and maybe a 2x3 photo here, and then she sort of flipped the layout underneath it. I can also see, looking at her layout, she's got a little bit of white background paper showing at the top, and then she's got the bottom part for journaling and stamping and her embellishments. So I thought this was a great, very linear, very easy page to recreate for our first challenge. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on my Elements tab, and I'm going to scroll all the way down so I can find a grid. I want a photo grid, and that's the image that has the blue background with the puffy white cloud and the green grass at the bottom. So I just clicked on it and it went right onto my page. Of course, it filled the whole entire page, which is not what we want. So I'm going to grab the corner and I'm just going to make it smaller. Ultimately, I want it to be the 4x6 size. So on my desktop, it does show me when I drag it, it does show me the dimensions here. So it shows me 4x6. Now I can already tell that I think Kim's page is maybe actually a little bit bigger than 4x6, or maybe her photos aren't quite 4x6 and 3x4. So for our design, because we're going to use the 6x8 page, I'm going to actually make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to probably make it, we'll play around with that in a minute. I'm just going to grab that, copy and paste. So Command C and Command V on my keyboard. And I'm going to try to figure out what size I want these photos to be. So this one looks like it's, maybe if I did 3.5 by something like that. Hold on a second here, guys. Let me double check something on my other screen. How about we do, it's 6 wide. So let's do 4 wide. And let's do 2.5. Let's start with that. And then we'll make this one 2 by 4, 2 by 2.5. So we'll start with that. Now I could certainly go over here and I can add another grid and start the whole process over again, but that's like too much work. So don't do that. Hit your back button to erase what you did. I'm just going to take my mouse, I'm going to drag it across both of those, and I'm going to copy and paste it again. And this time I'm just going to separate them and flip them around, put them back into place. You'll notice that these magenta lines show up on my screen, and that means that things are lining up really well. So now I have my template essentially set up. So it looks like I can just drag and drop the photos in the way Kim has them placed. Excuse me. So I did upload some photos earlier, and I'm just gonna drag these over and put them in to the grids that I just made. So these are some photos I took about 10 years ago when we went to New York City, and we went up the Empire State Building. So I thought it would be fun to, excuse me, it would be fun to use some of these photos. Now, as I'm looking at this, I created the grid that has the 4 photos. Actually, we'll go with this first because I think I want to change something down the road, but let's create the page as, let's Scraplift the page as Kim made it. So we need some speech bubbles from the kit. So let's go grab those. And I have my pieces kit over here. So I'm just going to scroll down until I find the ones that she had. She used that one and this one. And I'm just clicking them and they're just going on my screen. I will come back to those and resize them in just a minute. And a piece of my heart she had. Okay, so these are the, whoops, important tip. I always forget this part. So now that I have my photos in place, I actually want to lock them in place. So I'm going to drag my mouse over all of them and I'm going to click the lock button again. So now I can't move my photo, I can't change it, I can't move it around or drag it out of place. But what I can do is I can layer something over top of it and it's not going to suck the image into the photo grid. So it's kind of like I glued it onto the paper digitally. That's kind of how I like to think of it. So let's drag this piece up here. And I think this one kind of goes over here on her layout. Let's double check it again. Yep. And I think my favorite part was down here by her journaling. So something like that. Now you can add a title and some journaling, and then she's got a little piece over here. So let's just try to recreate it as it is, and then I will switch things up and try and make it my own. So let's add a text box from our Elements tab, and we'll just place this down here. I am going to change the font, and I'm going to actually make it a little bit smaller because it goes in at a default level. So we've got our text box. We need a title. So I'll add another text box for our title since I think Kim stamped that, which is really cool. But I'm going to try and find a stamp that maybe has sort of a distressed look to it, or a font that has a distressed look to it. So I'm going to click on this box and I'm going to search rustic. Let's see. Rustic printed stamp. That's awesome. So I'm going to pick that and blow it up a little bit bigger so it's my title, and we'll play around with that a little bit more in a minute. Let's see. I need one more text box. I'm going to copy and paste this one. I'm going to move it over here, rotate it 90 degrees, and I'm going to use this one for my date. I'm going to scroll in so you guys can see that a little bit better. There. And I don't like the placement, so let's change that. What I love about using Canva is very much like Word or maybe even your email program. So, you know, you can change your font size, your color. You know, if the options were available, your bold, your italics, your underline is up here in your toolbar. Your spacing, everything's right handy and where you're familiar with it. Okay. Sorry, I had to take another little sip of water there. So basically, I kind of wish I could show you these side by side, but I think we kind of have the basis of the layout down. So now I'm going to start playing with it. So I've scraplifted the design, and now I'm going to make it my own. So what do you guys think so far? If you're still watching, I know when I talk a lot and I explain it, it just seems like it takes a lot longer than it does. But you could pretty much do this page in just a minute or two. So for me, actually, I'm going to change the background just a little bit so you can see the contrast here on my screen. Thanks, Joy. Happy to hear that. So I'm going to play around with making this my own. And the first thing I think I want to do is I want to play around with the pictures just a little bit. I'm feeling like this photo I added over here doesn't quite fit, and I would love to see this photo here of the skyline sort of expand across the whole page to make a bigger statement. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch it up. But for the purpose of the video and the challenge, I will give you access to this template as well. So before I mess it all up, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to unlock this one, and I'm actually going to delete the whole thing. Now I'm going to unlock this photo, and I'm going to drag it across to the whole page. You can see that the photo automatically resized within the frame, which I think is kind of cool, but I'm losing some of the buildings when it did that, and I have more sky. So I'm going to click on the photo, double click on the photo, and I'm actually going to drag the photo back up so I get more of the buildings in there. And then I'm going to lock it again so that it's kind of glued down on my canvas. Okay, let's go back to the kit and see what other things are available for me to play around with. Slice of life is maybe not the right sentiment that I want on the speech bubble. There's one here that says the details, which I think might work a little bit better. I can put the name Empire State Building there. So I'm going to just resize it down to approximately what the other one was. And let's see. Don't think I need that one. I kind of like that. I want to add a heart. So let's sub out this speech bubble for the heart in that place, or the placement. And then we have this one, which I think might just be a little bit too big, so I'll just kind of make it a little bit smaller. Okay, moving down, there was a, let's see, in the pieces kit. Get rid of that. So in the editor, it's kind of hard to see the stamps on this sort of black background because the stamps kind of come in black as well. So I keep another tab open with the kit so I can easily switch back and forth. And the stamps are, I kind of want to use the one that says this, because we could say this view. So I think this is it. This. Saying a lot of this. Scroll it, size it down, much smaller, and then I'm going to zoom in so I can kind of work on these pieces of the layout a little bit better here. My mouse is being tricky on my mouse pad. Okay, so let's do this. Maybe kind of want it to be a very similar in size to the text box. And of course I could probably get another text box and just write this up there, but I want to show you how to use the digital stamps as well. So I will do that. I'll leave that. Now I want to play around with the stamped title. So it's really a text box, but it looks stamped because of our font. I want to maybe change the colors because I think Kim had different colors of stamping in her page design. So let's play around with the colors. Now I've just highlighted each letter individually, and let's see, actually I can pull some of the stamp colors from the photo. Every time that you add a photo or a journal card or a piece of pattern paper to your design, Canva is going to pull some colors out of the photo or the paper or the journal card, and it's going to give you a color palette. So based on the photos I uploaded and have in my design, it's pulling colors that it thinks will work well for my design here. So I could choose a light blue, and it's pulling probably a light blue from somewhere up here in this photo. Let's see, I don't know if I want to, let's just play around here. That one, and say that one, because I know it kind of matches the heart. I find it's funny, I'm pointing to my screen, and I know you guys can't see me when I point to my screen. This is fun. Okay, so I think I want to make this one maybe a little bit darker. So it didn't pull a navy, but I have a navy up here for something else that I work on. So kind of like that. But I might want, I don't know. I'm just playing around. So that's like gray. We'll go with that. So I have 4 distinct colors there in my title, and we're going to go up here and position this to the back. So my text box will now be in front of my title there. I'm going to change the font color in my text box to just the one down from solid black. So it's a dark gray, and this is in the default color palette that Canva gives you on your editor. I just think it's a little bit softer and easier on the eyes to read when it's printed out. And so I just went ahead and changed my date one as well. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and grab some text I have here on another screen. Because if you took my class, you know I don't type and talk. Talk and type very well. So it's easier to copy and paste. And then, so that just went in. It defaulted to center. I don't want center, so I'm going to change that. And then I'm going to resize my text box so I can get it looking a little, like you kind of just got to play around with it a little bit. So move those out of the way. Move this back up here. And this is one of the reasons I love digital, because I can play and move things all around without, like I guess I have more freedom to play with the design and not worry about making a mistake. So let's see, I think that's I kind of want, visually, I want this to seem like this is kind of all lining up. That's what my eye's wanting to do. So I'll do that, and I'll just drag this down just a little bit off the page here. What I can do, when I get it the way I'm looking, I can actually drag all of this. Unfortunately, it's pulling this one in, so let's move that out of the way. I can actually drag this together, group it, so now I can move it anywhere I want on the page. And it will all move together and stay in perfect alignment or proportion, so how I set it up here. So let's move this back over, and let's move this up. And what I want to show you is I pulled that image in, and if you were doing this all digitally, you might want to add a shadow or some sort of dimension to that piece so it kind of looks like it's more 3D. And Canva does have a way to do that. I'm going to show you right now. I'm taking a break here to get some more water. And Bethany, that's great. I love that you love the color palette feature. It's awesome, and especially if you're working with multiple photos, and you can definitely, sorry, not definitely. It's a quick way to match things and know, like it. You become an expert designer using Canva, which I think is pretty cool. So, speaking of expert designer and the color palette, I'm going to go back to this W. And I pulled a color from the photo, but just say I wanted to match 100% the color of this heart. I can do that. I'm going to click on the color icon up here. And I think that was the original color I picked for the W. But I can actually click on this. I can get my color picker, and then I can go over to my heart and I can click on the heart, and now my W is exactly the same color as the heart. So what do you guys like better? Do you like that, or do you like it a little bit lighter? So this is like the original option or the color picker option. I need you to vote. One or two? I feel like I'm at the eye doctor. One or two? I'm going to leave it as one for right now. And I can always go and change it back when I get all your votes in here. Okay, so we're going to go to this. We're going to add a little bit of dimension on the tab. You like the heart color? Somebody likes the color picker option. Okay, I can't decide yet. Need more votes. Okay, we're going to add dimension to this. So this is the imported, or the speech bubble. And I'm going to click on that so it's highlighted, and I'm going to go up here to edit image. I've used this before, so shadows comes up, but if you don't see shadows as an option, type shadow, whoops, in the search box, and the shadow option will come up. So you can click on it and you can play around with them. They're maybe not as robust if you were used to using Photoshop. However, I think that I have found one that works well for me, and I'm going to choose the backdrop option. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see that it's put a shadow behind. You can see right here, it's put a shadow behind it, but that's a really big shadow, and that's not the look I'm wanting on my paper or my design. So if you click on the backdrop option again, you'll see that there's the control button pops up once you've applied it. And I'm going to slide down the horizontal angle all the way to, you can see if I'm sliding it, it's moving the shadow across my screen here. I want to move it down to about 5. I just want a little smidge of it showing. I'm not going to play around with the other ones right now, but you can definitely play around with the transparency or the blur, and you can change the color. Like I could change the color of the shadow to match, anything I've already used in my design. There's a blue shadow, there's this shadow, but that's not what I want. So I will just stick it back to, I think it was black was the default, so I'm just going to leave it as black. And now we're going to scroll back out, and you kind of can see it looks like it's a little lifted off the page just a little bit here. I can do the same thing with the heart. See all, backdrop, click the controls, and instead of scrolling it down, I can just type the 5 in because I knew it was offset by the angle is about 5. So there we go on that one. And then we can do the same thing up here with the backdrop, shadow, 5. Okay, so those are all done. Let's go back to my inspiration photo again. Kim has some stamping here on the little tag. She had a stamp up here and a heart down here. So maybe there's hearts in the kit. And I could certainly go look for some, you know, those little other elements like the, I don't know what you call that, like asterisks, I think it is. So we could go look for those in another kit. I'm not going to take the time to do that right now. But I know we have the hearts, so let's play around with another heart. And let's choose this one this time. And maybe I will put it down here. It's always going to build on top of what you have. So clearly that's not the look that I want on top of my stamped title. So I'm just going to go up here and hit position, and I'm going to send it to the back. So now it is under my title, and I can rotate it just a little to kind of play around with it. That's kind of cute. And this is where I could sit here and tweak for probably way too long, and I'm working on that. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that's why these videos are going to challenge me. So it's going to hopefully make me faster, scrapbook faster, hopefully. Okay, so I'm reading the comments, and I'm going to change this back to the color picker color. So we're going to click on this, choose the color picker, go get it from the heart, and I think this was 2. Let me know if this is the right one, you guys. Okay, so here's our page. I can copy this text box, copy and paste, flip it around again. Whoops. You'll notice that when something's on top of another thing, it doesn't really respond as well. It gets a little glitchy. So 0, drag it up here to this, center it, and I want to type in Empire State Building NYC into that. No. See, this is where I get stuck, guys. I just want it to be centered. So if you're in your design editor and it's not going where you want it to, zoom in on it so that you have more room to work with. And that fixed the problem for me just there, if you saw that. I love the heart, the star eyes, Bethany. That's funny. Yes, 2 is darker. Okay, I've got it. Okay, so this is pretty much, I think actually I need to fix this piece down here if I'm going to go all digital. So hypothetically, if I'm doing this all digital, I want this to sort of stand out a little bit more. It just kind of looks kind of funny sitting there by itself. I'm going to click on the R key, and it's going to bring up a rectangle for me. That's a shortcut. Guys, you can certainly get it from elements, and you can get it from shapes. It's actually a square, but because there's 4 little tabs on this side, you can drag it and reshape it to a rectangle. So that is a little trick. And yes, I know it's orange. I'm not worried about that right now. We'll change that in just a minute. So let's see. I think I have to scroll in again. And let's make that's the same color. Let's make it white. We can also maybe layer it and position that backwards and change the color of that one too. And change it all the way there. So something like that you could play around with. I'm trying to get like a little shadow under it. I would have to play a little bit more to get the effect that I wanted. So for right now, I'm just going to leave it, and I'm just going to leave it like this. And I do want to add, she doesn't have a little staple, but pretend we wanted a little staple. I can click on the line here, or I can type in L, the key L, and it brings up a line. And then I can edit this line. So I can change the weight of the line to a skinny. I can change it to square ends, and then I can change the color of the line. I'm going to pick a gray, and I'm going to scroll this all the way down. I just really want a teeny tiny line for the idea of a staple. If you have digital elements that are a staple, you can certainly put that in there if you want to. I don't have any of those, so, but just as a reminder, like I just kind of want that. And see, I'm centering it now because it's got something to line up against here. So, okay. I know Kim had a stamped image here we could play around with. Let's go back to my kit. We could play around with another heart if we wanted to. Size that smaller, put something like that there. Let's scroll out and see how our page looks. Pretty good. I talked my way through it. And I did sort of alter Kim's page, but that's the whole idea of the challenge. So it's like to scraplift it. So you see a page that you love, and then, you know, it's like, I love this page. How can I recreate this page? How can I recreate this page in Canva? So we've created a scraplift of Kim's page, and this is a fully digital version. But what if you have the kit? Like, what if you have the physical kit? And I know there's a lot of you out there that have the kit. And I have the kit. And I love to add pretty things to my scrapbook pages. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to take this page, because probably not going to print it out as is. I'm probably going to make it a hybrid layout. So I'm going to copy everything I've just done. I'm going to hit this button up here. It says duplicate page. Excuse me. And then I'm going to start removing things from my page. So I'm going to remove the heart because I know I have the felt hearts. And I'm going to remove this piece because I know I have the physical little speech bubbles. This one as well, I have this. Although this one in the physical kit, I did check it earlier. This one is a really big speech bubble. I think it's like 3 inches by 2 inches. And if I were to do that on my page, just for example, if I resize it, I'm going to see 3 inches by 2.7 inches. That's that's the size of the actual physical speech bubble, and it's gonna throw off my whole design. I'm not gonna want to use that. So we'll leave this for now. But I probably do want to maybe stamp the date with my little date stamp or something else down here on a little strip of paper. So I will remove all of these little pieces. And I don't normally use a colored background when I'm scrapbooking. I usually like to use like a white background for the clean, simple look. So I'm going to actually delete my background color and make it white again. And then this would probably be how I would download the page to print out, and then I would add my physical embellishments back onto the page to make it the hybrid layout. So before I end the video, I want to ask, does anyone have any questions on this particular scrapbook layout that I'm scraplifting? Is there anything that I can show you on this design? Anything that you want me to change on this design? I'm throwing it out to you guys. Let me know. I'll just wait a minute here to see if we get responses. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Just scrolling up, making sure there's no other questions that I can answer here. So who wants to see how you download this and how you download it from Canva? Still not getting any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to download. Here they come. It's like they all come at once, guys. So keep typing. This was awesome. Thanks for doing this. I'll have to go back and start from the beginning. Thanks so much. Okay, I'm so glad, you guys. I want to do this monthly. It wants to be a monthly series, but I want you guys to have access to the template to start your scrapbooking pages faster and easier. And then post your designs in the Scrapbook with Canva Facebook group, so we can all like look at them and give you hearts and smiley faces on your designs. Hi, Glennis, you're in Australia. I'm in Southern California. I tried to pick a time that would work for multiple time zones, and I know that I'm leaving a few people out. I don't think that I can make, so if you're in Great Britain, that sort of time zone, I don't think I could make that work. I think it's about midnight there, but you can always catch a replay. So thanks, Kathleen. You're not late. We're just finishing up. I'm going to show you how to download this design, and we'll download the original that I did here as a fully digital design. And I'm just going to click on, actually, how many pages did we create? Let's see. I'm going to go down here to the little bottom of my screen to the grid view, and it's going to pull up that we actually created the sort of base template, and then I altered it and made it my own here. And then this would be the hybrid one that I would print out and embellish with the physical embellishments. But I'm going to click back on the middle one, and that's the one we're going to download right now. I'm going to click download. And if you are, this is a subject that I'm looking into, guys, so bear with me on this, and I'm gonna do a post, and it'll explain it all. But I often get asked, how do you know which file to download it in? How do you know the quality to download it in? And there's a lot of discussion about which file format it should be for printing. When I did a test print, I downloaded it as a PNG file, and I printed it out, and I had no issues with any of my photos, any of my journaling. Everything was clear and crisp. So that's what I'm going to do again. But I want to get some experts to weigh in on printing and files types and sizes and things like that. So just know that's coming. But for right now, I'm going to click on PNG, and I am going to select my pages. Sometimes this is all checked, depending, I don't know how Canva thinks sometimes, but sometimes all the boxes are checked and I have to uncheck them. In this case, none of them were checked, and I need to check page number 2 because that's the one that I want to download and print out. And so I've selected page 2. I'm going to hit download, and you'll see it's just going to download right to my computer. And then you'll see it pop up here on the bottom bar. And I didn't rename my design. So let's do that now before we do that. Have to do that next time. So when you create a new design, it just gives it, it's pulling the first text box, I think, out in the title. So we're just going to do February challenge number 1 for our title. So next time I download it, it will download with that title. But I'm going to click on this. It's going to open in another window. So I'm going to drag that over here onto the screen so you guys can see it. But there is the finished page that I would just then click on it, click on the image, and it will come up with my printer settings. Now, I have to play around with the printer settings because it's going to try and print at 8.5 by 11, which I made it a 6 by 8. So if I downloaded it by a PDF, it would be 6 by 8 on the page. But because it's an image, I can still manipulate the image when I'm printing it. I'm going to change the scale back to 100%. And now you'll see that it's going to print on an 8.5 by 11. And you can see that it's going to print the 6 by 8 page right there in the center. So normally I would just hit my print button. For my printer that I have, I definitely want to double check that I'm printing on the best quality, press print quality for my printer. And then go back to the preview here. So that's how I would print that. Okay, so I'm not going to print right now while I'm on the video, but there's our 2 designs, and I will clean up the template just a little bit, and I will post a link to it in the group so that you have access to start with it. I'm super excited you guys are here watching with me, and I hope you enjoyed the challenge, and I can't wait to see how you're going to make the Canva Scraplift challenge and this first design your own. So thanks to Kim for the inspiration page, and I will end the video, and I'll see you guys in the group. If you have any additional questions when you're watching the replay, post them in the comments, and I will get back to them just as soon as I can. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.